Hello and welcome to Business Insight, where we uncover business secrets and give you the necessary information to help you thrive in your business. So are you a seasoned entrepreneur? Are you an SME operator? Or are you someone looking to start off your own business? You want to tune in to this program because you'll be getting valuable information to help you thrive. Okay, today we'll be discussing the impact of the floating of the Naira on cocoa exportation. Yes, cocoa exportation, that's going to be our topic for today. And like always, we have a guest. This time we have a physical guest right here in the studio, and it goes by the name Mr. Ezekiel Agarire. Okay, and he is the CEO of Brookport Limited, and he is also a retired banker for many years. Okay, he has many years experience in the banking sector and is here, right here in the studio with us. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ezekiel. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show. How do you do?
Fine, thank you.
All right. So in recent times, we've seen that the Naira seems to be going down, you know, compared to what it used to be. I think now it's about 800 Naira in the international market, right? And in the official market rather, and about 1,000 plus in the unofficial market. So now, how would you say this fluctuation has impacted the exportation of cocoa?
Well, with cocoa being a major export for Nigeria, the increase in the exchange rate makes cocoa exporters very happy. You know, I'm sure they didn't make their projections for cocoa for them to sell their cocoa at about 800 Naira. You know, at 800 Naira. But that's the rate today, so that's the rate they have to receive, but they have to be paid for it.
Indeed. But how would what are the specific mechanisms, you know, and dynamics at play here? What exactly is going on? Just give us a brief understanding into how these prices impact the sector.
The price is not just it's not just brought down from the sky. It has to do relatively with the economy. We are getting dollars now at about 800 to 900 Naira. So that's what the cocoa has to be exported for. You know, something high, something that way, and so that they can buy their seeds and grow more. You know, yeah.
All right. Now, available data, you know, states that Nigeria was the largest producer of cocoa, the second largest, I beg your pardon, the second largest producer of cocoa in the world before the oil boom, you know, and they were producing about 420 tons of cocoa annually. But now there has been a decline because now Nigeria is now the fourth largest producers of cocoa, and of course due to so many factors. Now, how would you say, you know, how would you speak to the area of economic implication? What's the economic implication of this foreign exchange fluctuation on cocoa, on the export of cocoa?
Well, cocoa, the exchange rate has gone up, but we don't only export cocoa. There are other things we import into Nigeria, and those prices will go up too. It's just there's a correlation between our export and our import. So if our export is going up, then our imports will go up too. Okay, let's just see what we import into Nigeria now.
It's basically everything.
Whatever you import into Nigeria, the price will go up. So, and that means the price of a lot of things will go up. And that's how much of cocoa are we producing to get the increase to 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 how much of cocoa are we producing, okay, to negate the increase the increase in the prices of other goods. That's what we have to see.
Indeed, indeed. So how does this affect our profitability? Because if we cannot export enough, because that is one of the sources of revenue, you know, to Nigeria, basically. Now, if we can't export enough due to the floating of the naira, you know, what does that do to productivity generally and sustainability of this business or this sector?
Well, things are going to get more difficult. Things are going to get more. Prices will increase. Prices will increase. The things you take for granted, that you think you are, even things that is manufactured in Nigeria, that is made in Nigeria, the price will go up, because you have to. You cannot look at it in one perspective only. You have to look at it in a global perspective. If the price of cocoa goes up, and that's what we're exporting, fine. We have that advantage. But the other things we import into Nigeria, the price of those things will go up. You know, like the cocoa product we drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chocolate.
Yes. The price of those things will go up too. You know, it's a correlation.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there is this thing that has been bugging my mind. Nigeria produces cocoa. We even export it for revenue. How is it that we cannot by ourselves, you know, convert this cocoa fruits or you know, into chocolate? Because Nigeria imports 85% of its chocolate, and we are and those that even manufacture this chocolate, beverages and all of that, they are not even producers of cocoa. So they have to import cocoa and then convert it to chocolate and then sell back to Nigerians, sell back to countries that actually produce the raw material used in the production of these beverages. Speak to that. How, I mean, make it make sense. Let's understand.
Well, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to the average. But is there money to buy the machines?
Yes.
If somebody gives you...
What's it going to cost to have such innovations or such machines or whatever in the production of this? Anyway, there are a few companies, a few individuals looking to tap into this business. I mean, chocolate businesses are coming up every day because people are looking into that sector. But what can government do to encourage more people to look into this sector, to at least so we can have internal revenue instead of having to export most of these products and again, you know, have them imported back into the country?
The government has to put in place a means of them getting capital to buy the machines. Okay, so that they has to have a means of them. I know some of them might be difficult to get the capital, even if the government has to put a process in place to encourage people to import these machines that can make cocoa. But even if we put those in place, you have to look at it. You have to look at their methodology, how they will do the business, okay, and so that at the end they have the machines and they can produce cocoa products. That's what they have to do. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's speak to risk management. What strategies and measures, you know, or practices generally can cocoa exporters adopt to mitigate the negative effect of naira fluctuation?
Negative effect of naira fluctuations? Yes. Well, for the individuals, they can have a buyback system with the person they're buying, that is buying from them, and have an agreement that they will sell to them and sell to them at certain price. And when that, hopefully that agreement doesn't expire too quickly, okay, you have a buyback agreement with the producers or with the buyers of cocoa. You know, say you buy cocoa back from them, they will buy cocoa from you at $20 or something like that. Then you have to make sure you produce and you send cocoa to them at 20, so you don't take a loss. Okay? And when that is done, whatever you're buying offshore to bring back to Nigeria, or whatever, however they are sending your dollars back to you, you have to tie down the cost of that too, so that you don't lose along the line.
Along the line, yes. So now let's look at government policies. What role can the government actually, play, when it comes to supporting, supporting the idea of, addressing this challenge posed by foreign exchange fluctuation? What are the potential policies that you believe government can put in place to ensure that the naira doesn't keep floating, that the fluctuation doesn't, the exchange rate fluctuation does not hit our economy here in Nigeria too extremely?
The government has to ensure that we produce a lot of the materials that we need in Nigeria. So we have to put more emphasis on production of raw materials in Nigeria itself. So when we send it out, we can't be producing something for 3 naira. I want to sell it for 500 naira. It doesn't make sense. So the government has to make sure that our production cost is low, kept low, and that we emphasize production of good materials at low cost.
At low cost. Could the government also, look into the area of investment, to get more businesses? Because there are so many people who have money in Nigeria, but are looking for businesses to actually, get involved in and thrive. Now, what do you think the government can do to encourage more people to invest in this business of cocoa production? And secondly, talking about infrastructure, what can government do? Because I listened to some farmers, those who produce this cocoa, what's it called? I was listening to a report, and they made me understand the fact that they have bad roads leading to their farms. And because of that, it is very difficult for them to, and of course that reduces their productivity, maximally. What can government do to encourage more farmers to go into cocoa production?
Well, it's to ensure that where they are producing cocoa, or where the process of producing cocoa, the cost doesn't increase maximally. The cost doesn't go up out of the roof. If the price remains largely at the base, then what happens is that the product itself will remain affordable to the average person buying it.
Okay, what about infrastructure?
Infrastructure. You have to put infrastructure in place so that the prices don't go up, so you don't spend a lot of money. Let's assume you have a cocoa warehouse. Okay? The warehouse itself, you build a warehouse. That's the original cost. You have to make sure that that warehouse it's kept okay, so that you don't have to bring in 500 million or 100.
Yes, I'm not even talking about just storage. I'm talking about these farmers, the farmers who actually plant these cocoa seeds and then sell them to people who to other people who intend to purchase it and all of that. That's of course also exports the same cocoa product. Now, what can the government do to encourage them? Because from that report, I see that many of them are even tired of the business because of the low return on investment due to the fact that they can't even get access to their farms because of the bad roads. They have to spend so much trying to transport themselves from their houses to where their farms are. So what can government do to encourage this set of people so that we can keep having cocoa, for export?
The local government can make sure the roads are okay to the farms. Because not only the cocoa farmers that would drive on the roads to the farm, other farmers will drive, other people will use the roads to go home and everything. So make sure the roads are okay, so that when a cocoa farmer drives on the road to the farm, gets to the farm, gets his product, and comes back into the city to export it out.
Export it out, and that would also improve productivity. Amazing. Mr. Ezekiel will be going on a quick break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Sook News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Sook News. If you're not watching Sook News, I pity you, but keep watching Sook News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timmy Dakolo and you're watching Sook News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Sook News. Guys, keep watching Sook News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Sook News is your station.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked the CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history, an important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the outer marina through Akpombo, early into the Adeniji Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. Souk enlightenment.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Insight, and we have with us Mr. Ezekiel, and we've been talking about the impact of the floating of the naira on cocoa exportation. Now, Mr. Ezekiel, like we were saying before we went on that break, what do you think Nigerians can do basically? Because one other factor was the fact that we have cocoa trees that are too old to produce, you know, substantial cocoa products and all that. What do you think we can do better to ensure that we have more cocoa? Because Nigeria, we have many states that produce this particular commodity, cocoa. There are many states like that in the south, in the west, even in the east, and in the north as well. Now, what can government do to look into this sector to ensure that, you know, more people can plant good cocoa seeds so that we can export quality cocoa produce and get better revenue from it?
You're looking at how to increase cocoa production in Nigeria. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying, how to increase cocoa production in Nigeria. It's basically the same way you are if you have to increase any other product in Nigeria. It's the same thing you do is focus on where you're going to get your product from, and have enough money to buy the seeds so you can grow them. After you grow them, then you harvest them. After you harvest them, then you will you sell them out.
Right, sir. Now, let's look at global market dynamics. What are the impacts of the foreign exchange fluctuation on the competitiveness of this production of cocoa to other parts, the exportation of cocoa? What is the dynamics, the global dynamics? How can we stand toe-to-toe with other countries that produce cocoa, you know, given the circumstances of our naira fluctuation?
I think we stand a good chance of competing against other local growers of cocoa because, one, we have enough raw materials. We have to buy cocoa seeds and we grow them, and we have a structure in place. The Ministry of Agriculture has a structure in place to you know, to help them with that regards. Okay? Once that is done, it's just for us to focus on growing cocoa and say we are going to be a leader in cocoa. Once we put our fist down and say we're going to be a leader in cocoa, then everything falls in place.
Okay.
You know?
All right, so now let's look at demand and supply. Demand and supply, you know, how can we increase the demand for cocoa products, you know, here in Nigeria?
I don't think it's easy for us to just increase the demand for cocoa products. It's for us to grow it and then see how we're going to export it out to the countries that need the cocoa products the most. If cocoa is a viable product in the international market, which it is,
yes, it is.
okay, then we'll grow it, and we sell to the international market.
Now, do you think this would bring about any shifts? The fact that we don't, how do I say this? The fact that we don't have so much cocoa, you know, for export. Do you think this would also bring about a shift in consumer preferences and market trends? You know, how do these factors influence cocoa export?
Well, if we increase the productivity of cocoa, then people will start to find out what they want to do with cocoa. If cocoa is cheap and it's available, people will find something to do with it. And that's where the production of, that's where our usage of cocoa will increase. Okay?
All right. Now let's look at currency hedging strategies. Of course, such as insurance. Now, what currency hedging strategies can cocoa producers or exporters employ to manage the foreign exchange risk they encounter?
Well, to manage a foreign exchange risk it's not as complicated as it appears to be. Okay, you can increase. You can determine. You can put in place, okay, processes to ensure that the cocoa prices doesn't get to certain levels. If it gets to that level, then you have to, you know.
Okay, so how effective are these strategies? You know, how effective are they really in trying to, you know, in trying to limit the challenges that occur due to the Naira floating? How do we really go about it? What strategies, how effective are these strategies? Have they worked in time past? Is it something we can adopt now, and would it still work now?
It will work now, you know, our strategies. What you have to look at is your production, to make sure your production levels are up and it can meet the demand. So that when people ask you, come to your door and knock on your door, they're looking for cocoa, you can give them.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Ezekiel. We'll go on another break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
My name is Olatunji Shoti. I'm a performing artist and, you know, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Sook News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Sook News. If you're not watching Sook News, I pity you, but keep watching Sook News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timidakolo and you're watching Sook News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Sook News. Guys, keep watching Sook News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Sook News is your station.
Three Wise Men. Iconic sculptures and statues adorn major metropolitan cities of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, the statue of three men designed to depict the state's cultural heritage and to usher in visitors and tourists into the ever-accommodating center of excellence is no doubt an astounding work of art. Originally built under the administration of Colonel Raji Rasaki, designed by Bodun Shodende in 1991 and standing over 12 feet high, referred to as Agba Meta or Aro Meta, the three sculptured chiefs were placed along the Lagos-Ibadan toll gate to welcome people coming into Lagos State. The statue called the Three Wise Men by many has become a major signature for the state. Three white-capped chiefs clad in white wrappers, knotted across their shoulders and with clenched right fists are shown in the artwork. The images fascinate and create impressions in the minds of visitors coming into the state, captivating the attention of visitors who look with keen interest, pondering on the messages which the posture of the engraved images signifies. The Three Wise Men has been relocated thrice from its original position at Ojodu Berger end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to Magodo area before its final relocation to its present site at Olowopopo Drive. The sculpture has suffered severe damages over the years and renovated. Bodun Shodende, through this sculpture, depicted the highest honor that can be afforded to anyone in the Eko greeting tradition. The Three Wise Men, Arometa, Suk Enlightenment.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Insight, and we have a guest by the name Mr. Ezekiel Agahayere, and he has been discussing with us on the impact of the floating of the Naira on cocoa exportation. So now back to you, Mr. Ezekiel. What would you say about the exchange rates and in previous times, historically now, going back in time? Because there was a time where Nigeria was dependent on cocoa, you know, the exportation of agricultural produce, you know, and cocoa was the major commodity that was being exported as of then, before the oil bloom. So now, that means cocoa is very valuable indeed. But take us back in time. How was it back then when agricultural produce were being exported for revenue?
Well, agricultural products are still being exported for revenue now. It's just not
like
as...
it was the main source of
yes. Well, we have to place more emphasis on this product. We have to put in processes, export processes, to make sure that the producers of these products can get their products out of the country when they need it, when it needs to be done. And we need to focus on these products. That's all. It's a focus. If we're all focused on cocoa now as our main export product, then we will see a difference. We will see a major difference.
So as at then, was Nigeria thriving better? Because there seems to be this issue about oil and, you know, oil being, I mean, our dependence on oil being one of our major challenges in Nigeria. How was our economy back?
We had another export product called oil. So it only makes sense that a lot of people will focus their attention on oil, so that you can export it out. If we don't have oil products and we only have cocoa, you will see that a lot of people will focus their attention on cocoa. A lot of people in the economy.
Okay. So are there examples? Because I know even in Africa we have Côte d'Ivoire being the highest producers of cocoa. Now, what can we learn? What can Nigeria learn from such countries to ensure that our Naira floating issue or exchange rates challenges don't, significantly affect the importation or the exportation rather of cocoa?
It will be difficult for the government to do anything that has to do with foreign exchange, because the market is determining what the government can do right now. Okay, we are not totally separated from the government policies. What the government can do going forward is to get producers, okay, to get producers to produce more cocoa and focused production of cocoa, so that we can produce enough money, we can make enough money out of cocoa. Well, there are other processes the government can do in terms of payment. The government can be the one, but that will still take money out of the product itself. Right now, if I have cocoa, I have a buyer offshore. I talk to the buyer agrees, and he pays money into my account. The other alternative is for the buyer to pay money into. There are many alternatives really. One of the other alternatives is for the buyer to pay directly into another account. But that will lead, anything other than what is happening will lead to the funds not being focused on the product itself. So it's better for us to remain to do what we're doing and just try to produce more cocoa. Produce more cocoa, find ways to make our present yield more productive. If it's more productive and we're producing more cocoa, then we'll see a lot of things happening. Okay.
All right, sir. So now let's look at, from the perspective, from your wealth of experience as a banker, what would you really say is the future of cocoa in Nigeria? Do you see Nigeria, exporting more cocoa over time, or would we always be dependent on this fluctuation of, once the exchange rate is high, there is more revenue, once it's low and all of that. Do you think that Nigerians can do something better in the future, going forward rather, to ensure that, our export of cocoa, remains top-notch and does not reduce?
We have to just continue to emphasize to the farmer the importance of cocoa and its foreign exchange returns to Nigeria, because when the money comes in, it comes back to them. It comes back to the farmers. It doesn't come back to the government of Nigeria. It doesn't come back to me or you. It goes to the federal. It goes straight to the farmer, and the farmer has money to do a lot of things with it. So we have to emphasize to the farmer the advantage of them being able to afford what they need right now.
Okay. So what are the current regulations, that are already put in place by government that help them regulate the amount of cocoa that is being produced, so to speak? Yes.
I'm not sure if there's any regulation put in place by government, but it's just they checkmate the export of cocoa, and when it comes back, if the cocoa farmer has a problem with the payment, they have to go and find a way to talk to the purchaser of the cocoa seeds. I think cocoa is like any other product that has been exported. Okay, we can't eat every seed we produce in Nigeria, so we have to export it. Once it's exported, we have to make sure that the buyer of the product is has enough money to pay for it, because that's the terms of the sale. The terms of sale is that, you know, the buyer will pay, and the seller gets his money, and it buys more seeds and grows. It's a circle.
All right. So now, what would you say is the importance of market intelligence and forecasting in understanding and predicting foreign exchange fluctuations?
Well, it's very important because it helps the cocoa farmer to plan. If he knows that the price of cocoa is going to jump in the next cocoa phase, he can get enough money or more money and buy cocoa products so he can grow them, so that the next phase, when the cocoa comes into the market, he can sell them at a higher rate. So that's very important.
Okay. So are there any tools or, you know, analytical methods that can be used to measure the fluctuation of the exchange rate to ensure that it does not have an adverse effect on the cocoa, on the production of cocoa and its export?
Well, there are all kinds. There's intellectual measurement you use, and there are other things you can do. But the important thing is to look at and say, okay, the weather. If we hear that in the next season there's going to be a shortage of rain, then we step back and we purchase more to grow for this season, so that when the season of rain shortage comes, we have already something in place. Okay, so we can do that.
Okay, what about storage? Could it be that, could we store cocoa somewhere for a period of time to ensure that the export cycle doesn't stop?
Yeah, you can stop. You can do that too. So that's one of the things you can do. You can store cocoa. You can store cocoa, or you can, so that it doesn't come to a full stop if there's a coming season of bad cocoa. But at the same time, you don't want your purchasers to hear that there's going to be a shortage of cocoa in the coming season.
Exactly.
Because if they hear, well, they'll buy short and then they wait for this coming season to come. And in the coming season, you don't want to be going around begging.
Right. Right. Indeed. So, Mr. Ezekiel, we are rounding up the show. I would like your final thoughts on this topic. Was there anything you intended to add in the course of the conversation that you didn't have the opportunity, or probably I didn't ask? You know, during when I was asking you questions, probably I didn't put that in. So is there anything else you want to speak to, basically?
We should just be positive. Good things will happen. So be positive and plan our cocoa productions so that we have enough to sell this season, and make sure the ground is fertile so you can grow the next season and send out. And
yeah, that is it. Thank you so much, Mr. Ezekiel Agahayere. Yes, and he is an expert when it comes to the banking sector. He has many years of experience in the banking sector, and he has been here talking to us about the impact of the flouting of the Naira on cocoa exportation. I'm sure you must have learned something from this episode of Business Insight, and we do hope that you would connect with us again tomorrow for an even more insightful session. Thank you very much, Mr. Ezekiel, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you to our viewers for watching today's session. Thank you very much. I am your host, Adesua Iramosele. Till I come your way again tomorrow, do have a wonderful day.